so good to be here with you today. My name is Ashley McGarity, and I'm from Your Best Self Marketing. And I want to welcome you to the Beam, your visibility strategy deep dive to help your business shine its light and do more of what it does best. In today's episode of the Beam, we're going to be talking about engagement, social media engagement. And I want to know, so let me know below. Have you ever heard this idea that social media metrics, so, like your follower count, your reach, like likes, comments, and shares, have you ever heard this idea that these are vanity metrics? Are you familiar with that term? Like, tell me down below whether you've heard this idea before. Vanity metrics. Who's heard of this? If you haven't, so for those of you who haven't, vanity metrics are the metrics that might look great on the surface, but they don't necessarily correlate with tangible business results, and they don't help guide your strategies. So really, they're just nice and shiny. Like, look, I've got 10,000 followers. Like, that's great, but followers don't necessarily equal sales. So like, is that making sense so far? And so the thing about vanity metrics is that since they don't necessarily translate to tangible business results and they don't help guide your strategies, it makes sense that you shouldn't waste time focusing on measuring them for your business. So today, I specifically want to talk about the engagement metrics. That's the likes, that's the comments, that's the shares, the things that people do to interact with your brand on social media, to engage with you. And so the question that we have is, are the engagement metrics part of these vanity metrics? And it's a really great question, right? Because, there's some people that talk about boosting engagement, some experts that talk about boosting engagements, but then there's others that do say that the likes, the comments, the shares are just vanity metrics and that you shouldn't be focusing on them. And this is why I'm doing this video today, because I will be honest, I feel like that is doing you a disservice. Engagement is a highly valuable thing to focus on social media, and measuring it can be highly informative. And HubSpot, if you're familiar with HubSpot, they agree with me too. In their article, they have an article on the vanity metrics that you do need to stop measuring. They chose your engagement rate as something that they call an actionable metric that you can use to replace one of the vanity metrics in your reports. So then what is that anyway? The engagement rate. Your engagement rate is, in my opinion, one of the best metrics for you to measure on social media. So the engagement rate for just like one post is you take all of that post's likes or, reactions on Facebook, all of its comments and all of its shares, and you add those numbers together. And then you take that total and you divide it by the post's reach or its views. But you don't just want one post's engagement rate. What you really want is the average engagement rate during a given time period. So say like January's average engagement rate. So what you do is you calculate that rate that I just described, you calculate that rate for every post that's in that time period, and you add up all of those rates and then divide by the number of posts. So then multiply by 100 and you get your percentage, and voila, you've got the average percentage of people who saw your posts, who then also interacted with them in some way. And so if you want to do this, through Google, you can access the average engagement rates for different platforms and sometimes for different industries. So you can see how you're doing. But really what you want to be doing is comparing to just yourself and work on improving your business's numbers over time. So when it comes to that question of whether you should focus on your engagement, the answer is yes, but it's truly only yes if. If you're going to spend the time focusing on it, you want to focus on it strategically. One of my favorite things to say, if you've been in my audience any amount of time, you know this, everything in your business should be done strategically. So, with that in mind, let's talk about why and how engagement is so helpful so you can use it as a tool rather than a simple placebo. And what it really boils down to is that engagement makes a difference in all different parts of the customer journey. So, for starters, engagement is one of the most essential strategies that marketers use to boost visibility. And, that's why we're all even here in the first place, right? Like, you want to be seen, you want to get found, you want to grow your business. And this is where it all begins. So, when it comes to how engagement helps here, a big way that engagement boosts visibility is that it helps SEO. And what's really super cool about this is that it helps SEO in two different places. First, it helps give you a better presence on search engines like Google. So now, not only can people Google and find you on your website, but they can Google and find your social media profiles as well. So you can be found in different ways with people searching for different things. But on top of that, this is what's so cool. Engagement helps your organic reach on the social platforms. So, what research has found, it's found that even though organic reach has dropped on almost every social media platform in recent years, like I'm sure you've noticed this, like fewer and fewer people see your posts when you post on these platforms. The accounts that have had the highest engagement were affected the least by these drops. And it makes sense because Facebook's SEO, for example, I don't know if you've heard of this. It's called EdgeRank. That's their SEO. It gives you a higher score, a higher EdgeRank score, the higher your engagement is. So more engagement equals you're easier to be found organically on the platforms. And what I think is super cool about this is kind of neat. Something that Facebook explained is that this is due to a concern for our well-being. Can you believe this? They found that people who just scroll on through passively all the time, they tend to feel worse. But people who do a lot of engaging with other accounts on the site tend to have a greater sense of well-being. So that's super neat. But this engagement thing with the SEO is really freaking huge. If you've spent any time on Facebook lately, you know just how low organic reach can be. So getting this boost is a super helpful thing. So that's the awareness stage of our customer journey, right? The biggest visibility part of the customer journey. And engagement helps you get seen on Google and get better seen on social media. That alone is awesome enough, right? Like I could just stop right here and we'd be cool. But it actually gets better. So next we have the consideration phase of the customer journey. And here is where you get to build interest in your business and in your offer. And when you take an active role in the engagement on your profiles, you help further build that all critical, maybe you've heard of this, know, like, trust factor. And if you aren't aware, the know, like, trust factor is basically this idea. It's this idea that a sale cannot happen if the potential client does not first know who you are, also like you, and ultimately trust that you're the one who can solve their problem. And so what's really cool is social media engagement gives you the opportunity to build relationships with your potential clients. You get a chance to know them and they get a chance to know you. You get to answer their questions. You get to joke around with them. You get to simply be yourself. And all these interactions make it easy for them to start liking you and growing to trust you. Not only will they grow to trust you, but onlookers will as well. People will see that you make a point to reliably respond and take care of your people, and that builds powerful trust as well. Because so many business owners don't take the time to respond to their people. And so this makes you stand out as someone who really cares and is invested in their success. And that matters to them. We have the conversion phase of the sales funnel. This is where all your hard work pays off into tangible results. Actual sales. Dollar bills, y'all. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm a little too awkward to say that, but I tried. But seriously, research has found that people prefer to purchase products and services from brands that they've already engaged with beforehand. And so that gives you the advantage right there. And it makes sense. All that trust that you've built is the final key to unlocking those sales. It gives your followers the confidence they need to go ahead and pull out their wallet. Finally, social media engagement provides you with so many useful insights. Insights like how your followers, the potential clients and your current clients, are responding to your content, which can help shape your marketing strategies. Provides insights into how you can improve your products and your services as well. And this is amazing for that last stage of the customer journey. Loyalty. The better you can serve your clients, the easier it is to retain them and gain word of mouth referrals from them too. So, focusing on measuring and improving your social media engagement. This is obviously beneficial for your business every step of the way. But then the question arises, is all engagement equal? Is it a good idea to work on increasing engagement if it's just for engagement's sake? And I think my answer is going to surprise you, because yes, there absolutely is a place for something that's known as meaningless engagement. Those are the posts that don't give you any useful information at all, but they do get people interacting. I'm sure you've seen these posts like, which is really the best flavor, chocolate or vanilla? So I'm not going to get into the strategies around why and how you would use these today. But what I will say is that engagement for engagement's sake is beneficial, provided that it's not the only engagement you're encouraging. You absolutely do want to focus on strategic engagement and only use engagement for engagement's sake if you're doing that strategically as well. Because I think that name tells you everything you need to know. On its own, it is, after all, meaningless engagement. All right, so that wraps up this episode of The Beam. I want to know, did this put engagement in a new light for you? So tell me below if you're going to put more of an effort into building engagement on your social accounts, or, throw a shout out if you're a rock star and that's already something you've been working on. Either way, I would absolutely love to cheer you on and support you in gaining this valuable asset for your business. Once again, I'm Ashley McGarity of Your Best Self Marketing, and thanks for watching this episode of The Beam, your visibility strategy deep dive to help your business shine its light and do more of what it does best. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and be sure to hit the subscribe button below. Thanks for being the rock star you are, and I'll catch you on the next episode.